Hey, welcome to today's video. I'm building 5 Terminators from my Combat Patrol box today. Like I did with the last video, if you saw it with Castell and Crow, they're going to be true scaled. Little secret, they turned out awesome. I'm so happy with them. So I'm going to be talking about the process and how I did it, and I thought, like, why I did certain things, what didn't work. There was a couple really big fails in there. I cut them out, but I'm going to definitely talk to you about them so that you don't make those same mistakes. So let's just get into it. Alrighty, so let's start building our first Terminator. Now, I actually wanted to talk about mainly why I did what I did with these Terminators. I know the whole project's supposed to be true scaled. I've talked about it before, but in case you don't know, I'm putting together a new Grey Knights army for myself, and I wanted to make something really, really special. Something that stands out on the tabletop. I love how the way the Grey Knights play, and that's why I chose them as my army. But what I really wanted to do was make it so that they don't look so, lack of a better term, derpy. Mainly because the models are older, so that their height and proportions are kind of off. So you'll see in this video, once I get this guy together, that I start adding some space basically in his torso. So with Castell and Crow, I obviously didn't need to do that because he's a newer model. But basically with all the older models, so all the Terminators, the Paladins, the Strike Squad, whichever form I build them as, they all kind of need to be fixed to that true scale. One of the other things I did before starting this whole project was that I actually went and put together one of the new Terminator captains so that I had a good scale to see the proportions when I built these guys. What I ended up doing with the Captain Terminator was I used them as a reference when I first built some Terminators my friend actually gave me as a little test to see if this idea would work. This was like a little proof of concept. But anyways, let's get back to the actual build. So what you'll see right now is that I'm working on creating basically new pole arms for it because I wanted the pole arms to scale with the model as well. I wanted something, because they're going to be bigger guys, I wanted them to have bigger weapons, do something really cool. The process of wrapping them was where I kind of learned a lot. Here you'll see what I'm doing is I'm just drilling out a hole for the 0.2 millimeter brass rods I picked up, and then I cut them to about the full height of the model, as if I were to kind of, if the model was to use it, they want it to be a little bit bigger than themselves because they want to have kind of length on it, things like that for fighting. I ended up using super glue to attach it because obviously the plastic glue that GW does is not going to work with the metal. So the first guy I did was a regular Terminator. I ended up doing a composition for the squad of 3 regular guys, 1 with a banner, 1 captain, I guess, and 1 with a side cannon, and then the apothecary as well, just for the rules, because I want to be able to bring one back. That makes them really cool, all that fun stuff. So as I'm going through this, you'll notice that one of the things I realized while I was doing the drilling to make it a little bit easier from the last project is cutting kind of like a X shape into where you want to drill. That makes it so that the head of the hand drill kind of sticks in place, especially when you've got these like small little pieces and you don't want to take out your thumb or something. So that was a really great help with this. What I ended up doing was I ended up drilling a hole through the hand so that I could put the pole arm through, and then had the top of it attached. And then I had 2 different types of filler, and this was a big learning thing as well. The milliput doesn't really do as well of a job with making flat things. So obviously these metal brass rods don't really look good. I could probably paint them, make them look metal, it'd be okay. But I wanted to do something a little special. You can't tell, like the whole model's kind of been modified. So yeah, I wanted to make something special for these pole arms as well. So I ended up laying down flat milliput, and then using wax paper, tried to make it really thin so that I could basically wrap the pole arm in it. And that didn't really work. It kind of stuck together either I'm impatient or I kind of wanted to get this done as quick as I could, all that fun stuff. What ended up working, I also had some green stuff from Green Stuff World, and that worked really, really well at at staying flat and then being able to kind of wrap around the pole arm itself. So you'll see that in here. You won't actually see the mistake. It's one of the things I was talking about in the intro. You won't see the mistake of the milliput, just because it was like a wasted like half an hour or something trying to make it work, and it really, really did not work. As we get through this build on the video, yeah, I did all the bases were corkboard that I kind of cut in half because I thought it was a little bit too tall, but I wanted to do something a little bit special with each of the bases. I'll probably be doing that for the entire army. Other thing I did with this one was also change the position of the leg. So I had the original idea of actually extending the legs, because when I did my research on True Scale, that's what you needed to do. Turned out I don't think you actually need that. What I ended up finishing with all these models was just the torso, adding that basically the stomach to the model. So they have like a chest piece for the breastplate and then the legs, and there's no stomach to it. And just adding the stomach kind of fixes a lot of the scale. So you can see here that I'm using milliput for those fillers. I found it was a lot easier to work with than the green stuff. Just needs a little bit of sanding, a little bit of water on the tools to smooth it out. And then so I'm gonna leave you be for a little bit. I'm gonna turn up the tune skis, kind of let you watch as the build goes through. I'll jump back in kind of near the end of this model being done, and then we have 5 more to go, and I can kind of talk about each of the thought process around all these guys. So enjoy. All right, here we go into kind of building the torso part of the stomach part of it. I ended up kind of refining this as I went through and did all these 5 guys. I'm sure I'll get faster at it as I go through and kind of finish the rest of the army. Basically what I need to do is roll out a piece of milliput that's kind of thick. This one right here wasn't thick enough, so I ended up adding a little bit more to it because I definitely wanted it to stick out a little bit so you can see it around the torso. And the plan is to basically just fill up that gap, extend the stomach a little bit, and then go back in, kind of smooth it out with my tool as I go through with a little bit of water on it, smooth it out near the end. And then use super glue to glue it together just so it stays really nicely. And then at the very end, once they're all done, go back and kind of file it down once it's dry enough so that it's nice and smooth. So when I go paint it, you can't really tell it's there. I ended up doing this for all 5 models. So now that we're back onto the actual wrapping of the polearm, kind of want to talk about it a little bit. The process, I wanted it to feel like when I was making this, I thought of actually a tennis racket. So how you have the texture kind of wrapped over itself, which is what I wanted to do with this. I'm really happy with actually how it turned out. What I ended up doing was rolling it up with the wax paper, using a little bit of water in the wax paper itself to keep it from sticking, and then rolling it as flat as I could without, you can see here that it kind of rips a little bit, which adds some character to it, so I was okay with. But I had to be careful with, making it too thin to be able to do this. The other thing I did was, as you saw at the beginning, when I was attaching it, I wrapped the whole thing with the super glue just to make it a little bit easier so it's stuck there. Otherwise, while I was wrapping it, it kind of like slide down and it would get really, really, really annoying. But really happy with how this turned out. Just took a lot of patience, but it was definitely worth the effort. So anyways, I'll check in later. Enjoy. One of the things you'll notice is that I actually didn't show you how it looks like assembled. I'm leaving that to the end where I can show you all 5 put together so you get the whole feel of it. Some of them you'll be able to see a little bit more detail near the end of the build of that model. But for the whole thing, you just have to wait to the end to see them and kind of how it turned out. So I'm going to be going through building number 2 here. He's a little bit quicker of a build than the last one. I got kind of into a groove as I went through, but there's nothing too special about him in the sense of the model doesn't have anything extra, like for example, the apothecary or the banner or anything like that. So this one's a little bit simpler build, so I'm just gonna let you watch, enjoy the music and have fun. Now here's number 3. Number 3 was I wanted to add the special weapon in. So this is the side cannon. You can have one for every 5 right now, as of 10th edition. So I wanted to do 2 really cool things with the pose. I wanted him to really focus on using that weapon, so that I'm gonna have it posed up with his left hand kind of high, right hand right there supporting it, so that if it kind of there's high recoil, it kind of you got that other hand for support. So his weapon's gonna be stuck in the base, and I had to do some modifications to the arms around the right arm around the elbow, so that I can kind of turn it over to have it supporting that left arm. And then the other thing to do was expand the shoulder a little bit, so I can bring that side cannon in front of him a little bit, so I could get that pose really, really nice. So he's got this kind of bracing pose where he's got this big gun and he's launching it at the opponents. So enjoy. Hey, so we're on to number 4 already. Number 4 here was going to be my banner guy. I want to do a couple cool things with him. One, replace the default banner, kind of instead of him holding it in his hand, I want to plant it in the ground behind him and use that kind of cool texture that I've done for all the different pole arms on the banner as well. And then extend it kind of high above his head, which I know is not really good for rules, and because anything you can see, technically you can shoot. So if you can shoot the banner, you can shoot the model, but rule of cool here. The other thing I wanted to do was make him holding the pole arm a little bit differently so that he kind of stands out. Even though he's got the banner, he's got to have some other cool things to go with him. So he's going to hold the pole arm inverted on this one. So yeah, other than that, it's just some extra wrapping and then the true scaling like I did for all the other guys. So enjoy. And last but not least, my apothecary. With him, I'm really happy with how the pose came out. I wanted to do, he's got a different pole arm, so I actually didn't cut it off and use the brass to kind of extend it. I thought it actually kind of fits the scale of him. What I did do was kind of add a little bit of green stuff to match the other ones. And then also like extended the torso, moved the shoulder out so that he was a little bit more aggressive. I wanted him kind of moving forward a little bit. So a lot of the other ones I had were kind of relaxed, but I was able to kind of adjust these legs to match with the terrain to make him kind of look like he's jumping forward, which was really happy with. So it's a very aggressive apothecary, which I know is not a normal thing, but really cool. I liked it. So anyways, enjoy the last build, and then after that, you'll be able to kind of see how they all turned out.